to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our auditor sucks. Just the Odyssey, oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Becker Witt, here. Fraley.
Here.
And Sable. Okay, I need a motion to set or amend the agenda.
Should we note that the other two are excused? They did both.
I put them
let
in
us
my
know.
notes because
Yeah.
Daniel's for medical and Matt did actually send an email and cover one, so, okay.
So, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, for the agenda, I was just wondering if under number 2 for new business, we just add the watershed. I had sent out some information on that,
Okay,
but just wanted to add because there is that meeting, so
okay,
thought it'd be
that's fine.
good to kind of talk about that.
So, do I have a motion to,
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
motion carries?
Yep.
Let's see. Obviously, no public comment. Approval or corrections of the minutes from June 20th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion carries. Unfinished business and reports. Jason, Township Board.
All right, so right now we have some trees coming out at the lake. And our new dock is built, but it's not in yet. It will be done before the end of the month. Our new one that's going down here on the lake. And then there's some other stuff that we have going with consumers on the backwaters park. So just trying to get that all tidied up and it's all good to go.
With consumers?
Yeah, they give a list every year to go through and like check out, everything out and that, so.
Okay.
Who's responsible for the bathroom
We
there?
are.
Okay.
Yep, Tim was gone, I actually went down there and dealt with all that. And, honestly, there was nothing wrong with the bathroom.
Okay.
There was no toilet paper in there.
Well, and didn't Tim say something about you can put toilet paper in and then
It's gone.
somebody takes
It's
it?
gone. They put-
Unless you have
There's
it
a
kind of
three-
padlocked down, I
There's
guess.
that is too. There's a
Oh.
3-roll deal there. It slides in with a padlock, and people just right in their bag, and go. So we're gonna look into finding out where the DNR or whatever get them big rolls at the 1-ply.
Mm-hmm.
If they can steal that stuff, so. We're just
Yeah,
gonna look
you
into
never
one of those
know.
down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks.
Zoning Board of Appeals, I have nothing to report on that. And Bob, zoning.
Well, we've had no ZBA activity or need for ZBA activity, so that's a
That's
good thing.
great.
I just have a couple notes. I'll reserve a few comments for new business. But Ben and I have been emailing back and forth with a representative for Verizon Wireless. I guess Verizon is co-located on one of the towers here in the township. And I guess I've never heard of this in my 22 years, they're having issues with renewing the lease. So I guess they're not coming to terms, and whoever's land they're on is not allowing Verizon to renew the lease. So Verizon is looking to, one, build a new tower.
Is that what that permit was for?
Well, I haven't issued a permit. This is just email going back and forth. So they're looking to, one, build a new tower somewhere because they can't co-locate anywhere else. But they're looking at the possibility of you know, when they were looking at building a new tower, we have something in our ordinance that talks about new towers can't be built within 2 miles of another tower. But I've also been communicating with the attorney, I know I'm kind of zigzagging around here, asking him if our ordinance may be not necessarily outdated, but a little preempted, because if they can demonstrate a gap in coverage, then the tower location really doesn't matter. So I come in this morning, there's another email, they're actually looking at the possibility if Norman Township has property that they could possibly locate on.
Right.
And they've looked at like 3 properties here. One of them's probably out of the question, the property right behind here, our property here, but that's a designated landing zone, and I doubt Norman Township would want to.
Right, they want to put it here.
But we have the other property at 6th and Stephen here, and then 6th and Bosham. So again, that's going to be a
We
township.
have there, that, but well, we also have property beyond the trees right here,
Yeah,
behind in the,
yeah.
between here and Cranberry Lake. There's
Yeah.
a big section of property there.
They were just looking at a couple in there, and really they only need like I think he said like 100 by 100 freestanding tower fenced in there. But long story short, they're looking at that, and it could end up being a benefit to the township. I'm not in a position to
Right.
you know, make decisions for the township, but they pay pretty handsomely, lease agreements, and usually you can negotiate, service for the township services, emergency services, you know, repeater antennas, all that type of stuff.
Right.
So,
Well, that'd be beneficial to the fire department though,
yeah,
you know, as far
Yeah.
as the repeater tower, because I think right now that's actually
Yeah.
the tower that's just to the north
yeah,
of us.
maybe beneficial to the,
Where the golf course is or the tower.
yeah, that's where the repeater is there, but maybe beneficial to the township
Right, it brings income.
community center if they said, hey, you know, as part of our lease agreement, we want you to provide the latest and greatest,
Right,
whatever you have to offer for phone and internet service.
right.
You know, so, I don't know, just thought
So
I'd,
that'll be that'll be a township, but then Calava's in the process of updating, so,
Yeah.
I mean, and they're our business out here, so,
yeah,
you know, I mean, that's a little tricky, cause
I don't think it's tricky, because Kelva has piss poor service.
well, but they're in the process of
Calava.
just, I mean, Calava's,
Competition, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Calava's in the process of doing the update.
Yeah,
You know, that's what all this,
But
Cable and
regardless
stuff
though, they're
is-
still gonna wanna put a tower in for cell phone
Well,
service.
is the township a nonprofit?
we're not a technical 501(c)(3)
Okay.
nonprofit,
Right.
but government entities are not in the business of profiting,
Yeah.
you know.
Because I know that years ago, when I was on the Girl Scout board, there had been a request for one of the properties to have a tower on it, but it was not possible because it would impact, but it was a 501(c) issue, but I think that is one of the things that you have to kind of look into. Will it bite you somewhere else
Oh,
Right, if it's put on, township.
Yeah.
on township property? But government may be different, I don't, yeah, so.
Might
But
be-
in the meantime, between all the other, land use permit activity and junk and blight, and this happens every, year or two, there were some properties put up for auction in Norman Township. Those are some of the junk and blight issues that we're dealing with that are now in limbo until we find out who those brand new owners are. And I know I was talking to Jill before the meeting, and I had a couple people come in asking about a couple of them. One of them that's most noticeable up on 55 at Warfield Road there on the north side. A couple people came in showing interest in that, saying, what can I do? Can I, if I buy it, can I tear all that stuff down and build a home there? And I said, well, I'd love for you to take that off my plate. You know, buy it and do that. I'll write the permit. Let's get the paperwork going out there.
Well, and we can also pass them the information from the county.
Yeah.
They could maybe get some money to clean it up.
Yeah, that.
I mean,
could
that would be a
possible,
nice, you know, cause
Yeah,
the county's
speaking
got
of-
those dollars from that grant.
There was one house there off of, what is that, Spring and Baker? That they had a dumpster in there, finally getting all that out of
too.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but,
Finally,
yeah, individuals can actually apply for that money and the
Yeah.
county does not wanna send it back, so.
yeah.
I think it's federal dollars, so I don't know if it's state or federal or both.
Yeah, I know you
so.
sent me something, I sent that to
Yeah.
Richard too, so.
Yeah, so hopefully,
Yeah, other than that, under dropping down to new business, I sent Jill an email, I sent all of you an email today, and I just want to apologize. Ben and I have just been inundated with all this little stuff, you know, and I feel bad because I really wanted to be involved in not doing the master plan. That's your job, but helping with the graphics and the writing and everything. You've just been so busy.
I've been tremendous help and resource, so. I
Yeah,
really
and,
appreciate
and,
it.
and it was so funny as I was thinking this last week, right when I got back from vacation, Mary Riley with MSU sent me an email and said, how's it going, you know, are you making progress, because my fall calendar's filling up, and I told her what was going on, she said, well, Bob, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Going into spring and summer on something for a zoning administrator to try to help is almost impossible, but I still want to let the planning commission, that Ben and I, you know, we want to help in any way we can, but right now we're just kind of stuck. You know?
Can only do so much when your plate's that full, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, this is kind of a busy time of year though, too.
It is.
mhm.
Yeah,
So normally we're not here this time of the year.
yeah.
Yeah, getting used to,
Yeah.
how we put our meetings,
Mhm.
so. Alright, do you wanna move right into that?
Yeah,
Or did
new business, master plan. Last, time we met, we went through a good deal of the master plan, crossing things off and making some notes, and, I was going to, try and assign a couple, work sessions between committees, but I think I'll wait since Matthew and Star are not here. I'm not gonna do
That'd
that
probably be
right
a
now.
good idea, cause I haven't really got a chance to actually read it.
Right, right,
I've
so
been
we'll just wait
crazy
on,
busy, so.
yeah, we'll wait on that.
And but I think too, you know, Bob, you're saying like in terms of the time frame, but I think what we're also is the whole writing of it, whether or not we're gonna be able to pull that off. You know, that typing up and doing
Yeah,
those changes,
That's always the tough part when you're trying to do this in-house and when you don't have the loose pocketbook to go out there and have somebody
Yeah.
do it. So I don't like to back out of something without offering alternative suggestions, so perhaps you can still keep taking your notes, and I will try to coordinate and push with Ben to try to get some more of this demographics and things put together. And if we all keep our own separate set of notes, maybe we end up with myself, and I even invite Ben with the planning commission to have a workshop to kind of assemble these in order, and maybe it turns into a big task where maybe it's the planning commissioner, Ben and I get together, or Ben and I get together, and we start writing it so we can get some kind of draft, at least pieces of
Right.
it together, because I feel like we've talked a lot, and there's good momentum, and there's good ideas, and we know where we want to get to, but we have chewing gum on the bottom of our shoes,
Right.
and we just can't get there.
well, and it was when we were doing the bylaws, we could kind of move things around and cut and paste and, you know, put that together that way, taking others, but with this, it's a little bigger task of
Yes.
doing that. And so it's kind of like, you know, it's been a long time since I've documented, you know, typed a whole
Sure,
huge
It's just gonna
document,
take
cause
a
then
little
I,
longer than expected, that's all.
yeah, cause then I was kinda like, well, you know, but that would be we'd have to see what the township, you know, it'd almost be like, it'd be nice if we had somebody they were just putting it together for us.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if Rob would have somebody out of Northwest, or if that was even feasible, and yeah, what it would cost.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought about sending him an email and say, Rob, what's the slim budget version, you know?
So there's a lot of notes that we did take, and as far as the language goes, so whoever, it's still our language. in a
Yes,
way.
In a way.
I
We
mean-
gotta be careful too that we're following, and that Mary is supposed to be helping us with some of that too,
Well,
right?
she wants us to get the statistics put together.
And that's what we're
And
waiting for before we
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Okay.
because she wants some of that, because that's part of the information process of putting information out to the public to say, hey, this is how our population has changed, this is how our workforce and our income levels have changed, to give the public information, to seek some of that feedback. Where would you like to see us go? What type of industry do you envision? Of course, you get those 101 things that a planning commission has absolutely nothing to do with, fix the roads.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah,
I wish we could.
but we will get there. We will keep moving forward somehow.
So at this point, what we were saying that we would do is continue making our notes, going through the master plan, crossing off what we think is totally not necessary, like there's chapters about other townships and their soil and things like that I crossed off of my copy. And, I mean, things that don't, we can talk about our soil, but we have to talk about everybody else's too,
Yeah,
or that's just an example.
right,
I mean, there's a ton of them,
yeah.
Well, it's like you discussed at the last meeting,
or their farms.
farming is not there's not a huge presence. There's a couple
Yep.
hobby farms, there's a few cows down there, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. And that's probably how you'll summarize it, we'll spend a paragraph talking
Right.
about what was, is, and going forward.
So I guess that's where we are with that right now, is just to still make our notes and
Yep.
try and edit the
Okay.
language the best we can to give whoever,
And hopefully we can set up another committee meeting or two.
yeah, I was
probably
going
after,
to do that,
I would say
this
sometime in
time,
September.
but like I said, with Matthew and, Star not here, I didn't really want to, do that.
So, at the September meeting, we might, because I don't think people want to do it as school's getting ready to start, probably.
In
Finishing up
September?
summer, yeah. So our meeting.
School
might be
starts, 20th of this month,
Yeah.
The 20th?
28th.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go, wait a minute, the ISD's not even training their staff
My
until,
friends'
the
kids, they live out of state.
28th,
and they
yeah.
They're all in school right
Yeah,
now. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
so are my grandkids in Florida.
And I keep telling
But anyhow, my goal is to still, whatever you guys decide, because I think you want the same thing that I dreamed of, is a visually appealing document that's easy to read and easy to use.
Agreed.
So our biggest, yeah, we definitely agree with that. Our biggest thing right now is gathering the
Gathering the
demographics
data.
and the statistical information so that we can go forward with that.
And
Right,
s-
and I think we just had the census done, didn't we?
Yeah, it's
So
out
it should
there.
be up to date.
You go to the,
Yeah.
the labor website, and like I say, it's just
Yep, pages.
so many areas to
Yeah.
choose from. We're trying to keep it, limited. Sure, males, females. You'd think that would be the end of it. A couple different age groups, no, but how many of those age groups are left-handed with only one eye or something? It's like, really, they break it down into
Yeah.
so many categories.
Right, and last time, we also, put in some suggestions for visuals in some of the areas, or
Yes, and
maps
I've been
for,
working on that too,
that.
we want the graphics to express or follow, or have the narrative follow the graphic.
yeah.
so, and we left off with the, buffers and water, which would lead right into you, Mary.
Okay. Grand Valley, and I sent this out, is doing a survey, the Grand Valley, they have a teacher that has taken on this, or professor, sorry, now we're talking college level, She is, a group of students are doing a survey in regards to the Little Manistee. They were contacted through, the Little River Watershed Conservation Council. And Norman Township does have some of the Little
Yes,
Manistee.
we are within the Little Manistee River
Yep.
Watershed District.
So, so folks that live along that are supposed to be getting a survey. But what was said, because she came to the last county planning meeting, for the planning commission for the county, and they said something about the data for Norman Township was not, some of it they weren't able to use, that it was kind of an, I'd asked for clarification on that. I have not gotten that yet, of what, so our folks may not be getting that. So, but they are actually going to meet in Norman Township at our township hall, September 7th at 6 p.m. And I think that is a meeting that we really want to highlight. I think that it should be on our board.
So it's the Little Manistee River Watershed, or the people that are doing this?
The people who are doing this, it'll be the Little Manistee River Watershed Informational Meetings, which kind of what was sort of said at our meeting. It would have been nice to do the informational meetings before you send out a survey.
Yeah.
You know, that people kind of knew what was going on, and then they would kind of, but.
This is being done by the folks at Grand Valley State University?
Grand Valley is a part, the Little Manistee River Watershed asked for this.
Yeah.
And arranged, and Grand Valley is doing this
Okay.
study. So they will be here in Norman Township, September 7th, to say, this is what we're doing, and this is what it's all about. The concern is, and for Norman Township, we kind of border on areas of the Little Manistee that don't have zoning. And there was some confusion, though on their map it was correct, that Norman Township didn't have zoning. But the map clearly showed we did
Yeah,
have
they must
zoning.
have had the wrong map.
Yeah, there was some confusion that somehow, but they wanna give information, and they also, if, it might not be too late to get those, the surveys it may be too late to do the surveys if, you know, that was up in the question. They've already been sent out, what's the deal?
So we don't know yet, who the property,
Right, if the property owners are getting them from Norman. But what we do know that at this information meeting, then anyone who has an interest in this can be here. Because there is some concern, and I know that the town, the Stronach and also the county, they're concerned because I think you can look to, if you establish, and you'll know more about this than I do, Bob, as far as if you establish a watershed management plan, then the state takes control of that. Or there's more state dollars, there's more grant dollars.
Well, that could be.
Yeah. And the concern is that the county, for Stronach, for the county, that they have things in place that they feel are to manage this. So they're concerned in terms of losing that ability. Stronach did write a letter in terms of their concern.
What time is that on the 7th?
6 o'clock.
6 p.m.?
6 p.m. But just really want to get out so that people can kind of ask their questions. I was really impressed with the people that were there at the meeting. The professor was there, a couple of the DNR, which the DNR will be here for that. And so there's a good team of people that I think will be a good connection. Plus, it will help us with the master plan because we do have Little River property.
yes, we do.
But I was really hoping that it could be like put on the board, and that maybe, I don't know how the township kind of encourages, maybe that it's, you've already had this
you
month's
usually-
meeting.
Yeah,
And
but you
it'll
can
be back-
usually ask, Joanne, that she.
Or you can just not ask anybody and tell me what to put up there.
Okay, can you
I'll-
put it
that
up?
Tuesday
Okay.
before, I'll just
Yeah.
put something up
Okay,
there.
perfect, Bob, you've got it, it's
If I have
yours
to
to
fill out a
do.
requisition to put something on the board, I'm gonna go find me a new job.
Yeah, okay, if you can do that, that would be great.
But I have to know
Chris.
what I'm putting up there, I mean,
I think I
Little-
sent it, did you get it in your, probably you had a boatload of emails to read, I sent you the,
I think you did send me something on the
Yeah.
watershed. If I can abbreviate Little Manistee River water, well, the board's done now, but it's
Yeah.
full, so.
yeah, Little Manistee Watershed Conservation Council, which is LMWCC.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they're wanting to gather that social survey so that they can kind of decide, the value of the river. Part of it is looking how people are utilizing the river. So yeah, but I think this is really key, and I think we don't have as much in terms of where Norman is that it looked like, because I think a lot of ours too isn't necessarily built on.
No, it actually, when you're talking the Little Manistee River, it actually flows south, not in Norman Township.
Yeah.
But a lot of the geography in the southern part of the township, it shows on the map. It's in the watershed, just like we're part of the actual Manistee River watershed. We're a greater part of the Muskegon area watershed, the northern part of that, you know.
So
I was just trying to think, I was just out that way, I'm like, where's the Little Manistee in that area?
there's just, and I did have a map
It's on
in my stuff, and
Peters Farm Road, that'd be Cool Creek.
and I might not have put that in, but they did have a map that showed where, and we do have some, but then I was like, well, are we building on, but where also it's the bordering
Right.
townships would be nice to, I don't know if you have a connection with talking to those two townships that kind of border of maybe, because that's where there would be a lot of folks living. And they're part of, but they're not part of,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
It's kind
Our
of a
area.
Tricky deal there.
Yeah. So, you know, but really, you know, I think, you know, this is kind of allowing us to be a part in being in the room in this, as opposed to a year from now hearing that, oh, by the way, this is gonna get done, and you weren't here, so we made this decision, and so,
Thank you, Mary.
yeah.
It should be a good meeting to come to. Backing up to the master plan again. The types of statistics we need and the demographics we need, can we all just kind of, try and get what we can out of that? I mean, there's some that Bob and Ben already gave us, but there's things like, the employers in the area, there's things like Norman Township properties, there's, you know, those kind of things. I wanna, you know, we've got the population, I think, from you already,
Yes.
and that kind of thing, but,
We were looking at some of the major, you know, the population, big number, a separation by age, not to break it down into too many categories, but you know, school children or young adults up to 16 or 18, then you have like that, they call it that 17 to 24 or 44 category, and then like that mid-40s up to 64, 65, and then something that they call the petrified forest group or whatever. I don't know that I'm going into, but you know. But yeah, the
Like
census
that.
like breaks it down into 101 different categories, and
Oh, boy.
education, income,
Yes.
housing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, education, income. Let me write that. I already have the median income. Yeah.
that's on chapter 3, page 5, I think it is,
Yeah.
or section 5, where all that part is. So we just wanna put that, get that up to date.
Yeah, and those, I think, are some really key points to look at when you're planning for the future. You know, what type of people are here? What type of people are going to be here? Do you see a trend of, you know, are people leaving? Do we have a highly educated population, somewhere in the middle? You know, it's,
And also on the years, you know, some of those, statistics or things went back way back.
Yeah.
Yes, we
I think we
decided,
can-
we
we're gonna
decided
put-
to eliminate like
Yeah,
some
we're
of it,
gonna-
kind of
yeah.
move it forward. a little bit.
1849, we
Yeah,
don't really need those,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that would be in the, if you wanna go back,
yeah,
it's in the archives.
Right,
yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
So you can we can give it to you, but we're not gonna give it to you in this report, because we
so
want
what
you
year
to
do we
read
wanna
this
start
one.
with? 2000,
I think it's
Okay.
either late sixties, mid seventies, something like that is where you see the kind of a trend take place. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but,
60s, 70s.
yeah, I don't think you need to go back to the 1800s
No.
and have somebody ask, we didn't put the number of gas stations in. Well, I wonder why.
Mhm.
Henry Ford hadn't invented the automobile yet.
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know much about that area. No.
yeah. So,
so really, we got through quite a bit, but there's a lot of this that's in here is, also things that we can't do anything about yet because we haven't had public input. We haven't had, and we haven't, obviously, so we can't do some of these where it talks about our goals, and there's a lot on that.
so
Yeah.
So,
public
future
input,
plan, policies, goals, and actions.
Yeah.
So there's a whole section that we can't, until we develop.
That's done after your public input.
Yes.
Yeah.
and With
Yes.
public input, yeah.
so what do you think our time frame would be? Because I'm sure that's what Mary Riley was
Yeah,
asking too, I mean, ideally it'd be like, nice to say October, but I
Yes.
don't,
I don't see us, no, ideally, I'd like to see us in the spring and have this done before we go into next summer. That's what I
Okay.
think would be reasonable.
so like April?
I was
Yeah.
thinking
I would think April, May, you know,
Okay.
something like that.
So
It'd be
our
nice
public-
to have something,
for the first public.
yeah, it'd be
Comment,
nice to
yeah.
have something, because after you're done with the draft, even before you have the
That's what
public
I was
hearing,
thinking of.
Yeah.
you send it to the board and request permission to distribute the master plan to the notice group, okay? And then you send it out to them, and because we're doing a little bit more than an amendment, instead of a 42-day, I think it's a 63-day, and then you can schedule your public hearing anytime after that 63-day period. So that may put you, you know, at May or June or July, something like that. But wouldn't it be nice to go into next summer and go,
Yes.
Yeah,
or at least have
Certainly
something to look at and go, now is there anything in the master plan we can implement via zoning, and how do we do that?
I like that. Yeah.
So, on that note, since we don't have those things in front of us, really, that's really the next step. Just to get that information and then go from there.
That's the monumental task, getting some of those
The research.
demographics together and the research done, and going and shipping that to Mary and say, Mary, what do you think about this? Does this give you something to work with to come into Norman Township and hold a visioning session?
Yeah. And the county stuff was already done for us, because that was
Yeah.
done for the other
Yeah.
plans within the county, so
And I
we
would
could just pull
suggest
those off
even-
of those.
Do a lot of people still read the bulletin board news around here online, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
paper
so.
copy? Last time we took out like a half-page ad in it or
Right.
online, I would do something like that. I mean, I think I don't even know if they charged us, it might have been $40. Put a big half-page ad, you know.
Right.
I even put it in the Manistee News Advocate like 2 weeks ahead of time. Hey, the planning commission is holding a, you know, public visioning session. Come and, you know, give us your thoughts. And after all that, it was, you know, I mean, we had a good, what we had, maybe 25, 30 people. I don't know, were you here at that time? We
think
were
it was-
right here in the big circle.
Right.
And I could,
Yeah, it seemed like it was about 30
Yeah.
people.
cause here, this is the news release that they put into the Manistee News Advocate. That would be a great thing to put in the bulletin, wouldn't it? Anybody have access? Okay, I can look at the bulletin and see. You have access to that? Huh?
Are you talking about to Jack, to the bulletin board?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's my neighbor, I'll probably see her right after this meeting.
Cause if, I can,
Does Jacqueline still do that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I think she put that half page in
Right.
for the township
Yeah.
for
They have
no charge.
they have a huge reach where they distribute that too. It's
Yeah,
not
they
just
do,
local
and-
here.
so if maybe I could have you,
I can pass
could I
it
get a
up to
copy
her.
of it to give her?
Oh.
Cause then she could just have the thing they actually put for the newspaper.
Oh, you want me to make you a copy? of
Yeah,
that?
cause I don't wanna
can make
give up mine.
you- Yeah, I'll make you an extra copy.
Thank you.
Sure.
And then I can give that, and that can get right in there, and,
Can you make 2 copies, Bob?
Yep.
Thank
I'll make
you.
3 copies.
Yep.
You all can have one.
Oh, good.
Who would she call if she has questions, cause I'm not sure if there's like a fee, cause it's kind of a public announcement, or how that works, so.
It would be a public
it
announcement.
would be a public announcement.
But
But I'm not sure, since she's just a small town paper, it's not like she's like a, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's like an advertising fee.
You want me to talk to her? I can talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to her about it.
Yeah, well, and I know she's very forthcoming
know.
about doing things like that, just, you know.
oh, sure.
Yeah,
So, but just in case, I thought, who would she call? Would it be the town hall?
yeah, and I don't know if, you know, I mean, we don't, I mean, as a planning commission, we
We don't
don't
have the
control the
authority to-
money.
Right,
Right.
but and that being said,
And
yeah,
they,
she may
and
not
what I'm,
even
yeah,
need
and what
it,
I'm giving
so.
her is what was put in the newspaper, and there was no, thank you.
Thank you.
I just can't speak for her that it's free, I guess. is what I'm trying
Right.
to say.
Right,
Even if it's not free, I mean, I'm sure we've got some in our budget for that, so.
yeah, yeah, we'll work out something between you and Jason, maybe, you know, and if, yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I mean, now, yeah, to run a paper and not make any money off of it,
Right.
but,
That doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a good business. plan.
no, no. But it was really funny because the press release hadn't gotten in, they had sent it, but it hadn't gotten in, and then like, a day after we talked about it and checking to see where it was, there it was in the paper. It's sort of like, okay, they must have, so. But it's not something that probably people would pay a lot of attention to unless, that's the concern that I have. I mean, had I not been looking for the article, I wouldn't have, you know.
Oh, I totally misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about, I didn't know you were talking about the watershed thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, we were talking about when we do the master plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but we are wanting so that we're getting people, because this is gonna help us with their master plan too. I mean,
Right.
this is gonna help us if we get people showing up here, because the river is part of our Norman Township, even if we don't.
So to hear that, people, come down to the town hall on September 7th. Don't just watch it online if you want to participate.
Yeah,
They need your feedback. That's my 2 cents.
yeah. Well, and if they missed that one, Filer does have one at their rec center, September 20th, but that can all be listed in. And then there will be 2 in Lake County, and then there's a virtual meeting to be announced. So if people are into virtual only, they will hear about the virtual in October, which
Good to know.
The one
it'd be
in
kind of
Lake-
nice to be kind of in the front as opposed to the end.
Absolutely.
So,
The one in Lake County in the Elk Township Hall, that one's gonna be probably interesting, cause there's a lot.
oh yeah, and those 2 are before us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, yeah,
Well, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because Yeah, one's 2 days away, August 17th at the Lions Club in Luther. And then Elk Township Hall is August 28th. First day of school starting. So yeah.
So at what, at what point would we notify Mary that we're ready for her?
I would,
Do we do
I
that?
would say, and I'm going to double check with her on this, that once we have our so-called demographic stuff put together, and I think, more information, whatever we wanna put together on, I call it the ancillary topics, you know, we're not gonna spend pages and pages talking about soils, but we are gonna talk about the types of soils and the fact that we have no, public water and sewer, that we rely on well and septic, and how that ties into the watershed issues and the environment and the amount of wetlands that we have. You know, it'll be a chapter, I'm sure, but I don't think it's going to go on for, the chapter F11, section 4, dot B, for pages and pages and pages.
Right.
But I think once we have that bulk of information there, we don't have to have our introductory stuff yet, but I call it the meat.
Right.
That section there,
Right.
that I think will be about ready. But I'll take what I'm thinking, put it into words, and send her an email to get some feedback from her. Because if she's the one that's going to be doing it, I want her to feel comfortable that she has enough information
Right.
to represent, what we've gathered to the public.
Well, and I was kind of, as we're working on this and with Norman, we're, like you said, we don't have that water and sewer, and I was kind of like, I'm okay with that. We all have our own septics, we have our own wells. I'm okay with that. Well, then listening to this presentation, it's one thing to be okay with it if you're being responsible with it. It's another if you're next to the river or you're next to a body of water and you don't have a septic system,
That's working.
you're contaminating
Right.
the waters then around you. And so the state is paying attention to that. There is something, and you may know something about, I think there's like 4 bills that have been introduced
Yeah, I've read most
that,
about it.
there's gonna be inspections of septics that there's not gonna be, which will make you a little busier probably too.
A lot of
Well, they'll
communities
be out
are
of the
going to
health
point of sale
department.
inspections for septic. which,
Yeah.
I don't know, I figured that's just a, buyer beware anyhow, If I can buy a car, I can either choose to get it inspected or, keep my fingers crossed. But other communities take more proactive approaches too. I work up in Whitewater in Grand Traverse County. You can't locate your septic drain field, even though the health department and environmental regulation, EGL, let you be within 50 feet of a body of water. Many communities up there won't let you within 100 feet of a body of water. We're making people put in community septic systems upshore of the lake and across the road. And,
Yeah.
and pumping it up there. What costs? Well, I'm sorry. We're gonna take care of the water. You decided to buy here, then you bought into whatever you need to do to be a responsible landowner.
And I think that is gonna be, because the master plan is looking to how we go forward.
Yeah.
That is gonna be an area where, when we talk about that area, we're gonna be talking about that, because it is key, because, nobody wants to lose that wonderful little lake we have over there.
Right.
You're putting a new dock, for, we like the fact that it was the cleanest lake in the county when the health department did the testing.
In the state.
In the state. So we want to keep that kind of, and then with our rivers too. So yeah, and that is part of future planning. How do we do that? But I was kind of going, wait a minute. I don't know that I want to see all of us having to be connected to something, but that is going to be something that will be a fun conversation when we have our community meeting. That might get people here. That might get people excited, right?
Well, I'm gonna try to be very specific with Mary. I'm gonna say, Mary,
Yeah.
what's the minimum requirements you want us to have
Thank you.
Yeah.
before you'll come and
Yeah.
do your thing?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll give us an exact path to follow
Yeah.
too.
Okay. So. I, really don't have anything else. Jason, Mary, anything else?
No.
Have you, you've been through Citizen Planner, haven't you?
Yes.
Have you been through Citizen Planner?
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
They were talking about maybe it would be good to update. If
I
you
was gonna
want.
say, yeah, and
Yeah.
they've kind of like lowered the price a little bit too.
So-
And they have it online, and I don't know if you've seen it, I know Mary sent it out of her office, and I saw it up in Empire. The East Bay Charter Township has, the in-person classes starting first week of October or something
Ooh,
like that.
where is that at? East Bay.
That way.
That way, yeah, I'm
North
thinking,
of here.
somewhere east.
East Bay Charter Township, I know
Yeah.
I'm over here, and you come over here,
Yeah.
south of
What
Traverse
community is it in?
City, kind of Garfield and Hammond and,
And Star hasn't either.
oh, okay, she was doing it online, wasn't she, or no? No,
Not
It hasn't
that
been
I-
set up
yeah.
yet?
She hasn't been set up yet.
but.
Well, if we could do it face to face.
So that's something you guys could maybe talk
I mean,
to.
see what the
Maybe
cost-
commute, and
yeah.
our, we're part of the Michigan Township Participating Plan, and we would get at least one, if not both of your tuitions reimbursed too. If the township paid them up front, so.
Right. So that would be great if you could both.
Yeah, yeah, cause they did, you know, cause it was a long time ago when I kinda looked at them, going, a lot of this looks familiar, but then it was kind of talked
Yeah,
about
mine
that we
during COVID.
need to, yeah, did you?
Yep.
So,
In person for those type of classes is always best, in my
Yeah,
opinion. I mean, some people do
that's-
it online, but I like being with people, hearing the issues that they're having and talking to them, you know.
Right.
yeah, I do
Yeah.
better with that too.
And the last class we did, it was online, and there was over 1,600 people in this group, and I'm like, holy Jesus. It was,
Yeah.
It was big.
Wow.
I just did it was a national,
Okay.
it's a company for embroidery, 15,000 people logged onto this that did it correctly. Can you imagine what virtual does?
Yes.
So,
If no one's got anything else, I'd
you gonna
motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
I'm gonna
Okay.
second that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks.
The only
Thank you,